Hello and welcome to Nana's Crafty Home. My name is Tanya. Today's tutorial is going to show you how to crochet the Mountain Trail Triangle Scarf that you can find as a free pattern on my website. This is the same stitch that I use for all of my Mountain Trail patterns, and you can find all of those on my website. For my triangle scarf that you can see here, I am using Yarn Bee Soft and Sleek, which is a low pill fiber. This self-striping yarn is the perfect yarn for this particular stitch pattern, but you can find many other different options for your scarf as well. For my video tutorial, I'm going to be using I Love This Yarn in a solid white with a print. I'm also using a size H or a 5.0 millimeter crochet hook. I'm going to be starting with my solid here. And you can make a magic circle, or you can go ahead and chain 4, slip stitch to form a ring, and then you'll be working that row 1 inside the center of that ring. So I'm going to chain 3 for row 1 and then work 8 double crochets in your magic circle or in the center of that ring that you just made. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and you're going to have a total of 9 stitches. That includes the chain 3 at the beginning, as that will count as your stitch here and throughout the remainder of your pattern. So for row 2, we're going to turn and chain 3, and I'm going to work a double crochet in that same stitch. So at the base of that chain 3, I'm going to work another double crochet, chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip the next stitch, work 3 double crochets in that next stitch. This is going to be my corner. Chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1. I'm at the end of my row. I'm going to work 2 double crochets in that last stitch, which is the top of that chain 3 from the previous row. So 2 double crochets in that stitch. So in order to change colors, I'm going to leave the last double crochet unworked with those last 2 loops left on my hook, and I'm going to bring in my second color by yarning over and pulling through those last 2 loops to complete my double crochet stitch. And then I'm ready to move on to row 3 by turning, chaining 1, and you're just going to drop your yarn and not fasten off. We're going to be pulling that back into our work in a couple of rows here. So after chaining 1, I'm going to work 2 single crochets in that same stitch. So at the base of that chain 1, work 2 single crochets, then single crochet in the next stitch, and now I'm going to work in those skipped stitches from the previous row. I'm going to work a double crochet in that skipped stitch in front of that chain 1. So I'm going to work a regular double crochet by yarning over and inserting my hook in that skipped stitch from the previous row, yarning over, pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through 2, and then yarning over and pulling through the remaining 2 to complete that double crochet stitch. And you can see that that double crochet is in front of that chain 1. Then I'm going to work a single crochet in the top of that double crochet stitch from the previous row, and again that next skipped stitch I'm going to work a double crochet in front of that chain 1, single crochet in the next stitch, and this is that 3 double crochet corner from the previous row. I worked a single crochet in the first stitch, and I'm going to work 3 single crochets in that middle double crochet stitch, which is my corner for this row. So 3 single crochets, single crochet in the next stitch, double crochet in that skip stitch from the previous row in front of the chain 1, single crochet in the next, double crochet in the next skip stitch in front of the chain 1. I'm at the end here with those final double crochet stitches from the previous row. Remember that chain 3 counts as my stitch, so work a single crochet in the next and then 2 single crochets in the top of that chain 3 to complete your row. Now we're going to turn for row 4, and I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, double crochet in the same stitch at the base of that chain 3, chain 1, skip the next stitch, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1. This is my corner. Remember that 3 single crochet corner from that previous row. The next stitch after I've skipped 1 is that middle single crochet, and I'm going to work a 3 double crochet corner in that stitch. If it helps you, you can place a stitch marker in that middle stitch of each row. So in your corner, you could place a stitch marker in that middle double crochet, and then in the next row, you could move it up to the middle single crochet of your corner. So after 3 double crochets, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, I'm in that final stitch, 2 double crochets in that final stitch to complete your row. And this is where I'm going to, if I'm changing colors, I'm going to bring my first color back in to work with it for the next row, so you would not finish that final stitch. Leave those last 2 loops on your hook, drop the yarn that you're working on, and pull in that dropped yarn from the beginning by yarning over and pulling through those last 2 loops to complete your stitch. And when you do that, you want to keep even tension along that edge. You don't want to pull it too tightly. We're just simply pulling it back into our work, and it will lay nice and flat along that edge. And we will cover this yarn jog at the end by working single crochet all the way along that top edge to cover those. So for the next row, I'm going to turn and I'm going to chain 1, 2 single crochets in the same stitch, single crochet in the next. Now I'm at the skipped stitch from the previous row, and instead of working a double crochet in that skipped stitch in front of the chain 1, I'm going to work that double crochet behind the chain 1. So it's just a double crochet, yarning over, and if it helps you, you can pull these forward so that you can get those out of the way to work in your skipped stitch. Because we are not going to be enclosing that chain 1, we're going to be leaving it in front of our work and working a double crochet in that skipped stitch from the previous row, single crochet in the top of that double crochet from the previous row, that next stitch, and again work your double crochet behind the next chain 1 into that skipped stitch. And we're going to repeat that until we get to our corner. Single crochet in the next, double crochet behind the chain 1 in the next skipped stitch, single crochet in the next, double crochet in the next skipped stitch, single crochet in the next stitch, and again this is my middle double crochet of that corner from the previous row, and I'm going to work 3 single crochets in that middle stitch. And if you had placed a stitch marker in that middle stitch, you would now move it up to the middle stitch of this single crochet corner and just continue doing that each row. Single crochet in the next, double crochet in the next behind the chain 1, single crochet in the next, double crochet in the next, single crochet in the next, and just continue repeating down this edge, double crochet in the next skip stitch, single crochet in the next, double crochet in the next skipped stitch, and then I'm at my end here, single crochet in the next stitch, and in my final stitch, that chain 3, 2 single crochets. So I'm going to turn, chain 3, I'm going to be repeating row 4, double crochet in that same stitch, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, and repeating that down this edge, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, I'm in that middle single crochet, 3 double crochet corner in that next stitch. And then continue repeating, chain 1, skip 1, double crochet in the next, chain 1, skip 1, I'm in my final stitch, 2 double crochets. And this is where I'm going to change color again by dropping, leaving that final double crochet unfinished, and then pulling in my yarn that I had dropped earlier, and then turning, chaining 1, and now we're just going to be repeating rounds 3 through 6 until we get to the size desired in our pattern. You're going to want to end after a row 3 or 5. So this is a row that is unfinished. Basically, we've left these stitches skipped. You're going to want to finish after you've closed in those stitches by coming down and working a double crochet in those skip stitches. So for this next row, I'm going to single crochet twice into that first stitch, single crochet in the next, and now I'm going to be working my double crochet stitches in each of these skipped double crochets from the previous row by working again in front of that chain 1. So you'll have one row of working in front, and then the next row will be working in back of those chain 1s, and that's what gives this stitch such an interesting woven look, by going back and forth with in front and behind. And we're going to repeat that until we get to our corner. We get to our corner, single crochet in the next stitch, 3 single crochets in the next. And if we look at this, you can see what an interesting look this stitch gets when you're working with 2 different colors, or even if you're working with 2 of the same color that has that stealth striping in it, because it really enmeshes those colors together in those rows. So just continue repeating until you get to the size desired in your shawl. Now this part is optional. Once you've worked to the size desired in your pattern, I wanted to work over these yarn jogs that I have at the top edge of my scarf. So I worked a row of single crochets evenly along this top edge just to cover over those yarn jogs. But if you're not working with more than one color, or if you don't mind these yarn jogs because they are up to the neck, you're not really going to see them, just skip this part. But I did this with mine so they don't get snagged. That's another thing too. But I'm just going to work a row of single crochets evenly along that top edge. And when you're working along that top edge, you're just working at the ends of those rows, working 2 to 3 single crochets along those chain 3s, and then 1 at the edge of your single crochets. You just want it to be a nice even single crochet edge at the top there. And here is where I get to that section where I have my yarn floats or jogs. And when I work my single crochet stitches, I just want to work over. So I'm going to insert my stitch and then work over that yarn jog so it's completely hidden. And then just add tassels where desired. If you want tassels on your 2 corners, you would just add tassels on each corner here. You could also add a tassel here to the front corner if you wished. It's entirely up to you. You could skip it altogether. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial today. Thanks so much for being with me. As always, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you never miss a new video. Thanks everyone. I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.